Hello everyone, welcome to 1.5 Degrees, the podcast where together we explore the science, solutions, and stories involved in the fight against climate change. I'm your host, Heidi Pan, speaking with the professionals behind the latest research, policies, culture, and innovations shaping our response to global environmental challenges. For today's episode, we are joined by Nyombi Morris, who is a Ugandan climate activist and the founder and CEO of Earth Volunteers, to discuss his experiences with activism, what we need now in climate action, and more. Nyombi began his activism as a result of the direct impact flooding had on his family. His work has since been recognized internationally by the BBC, Forbes, Time magazine, and more. And in addition to being a climate activist, Nyombi is also a senior technician. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's truly such an honor.
Thank you, Fan, for the wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Nyombi Morris. I'm live in Kampala, Uganda. Good to be here with you today.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for this conversation. I guess, just to begin, can you tell us just a little bit more generally about the work that you do now?
Yeah, I'm a climate activist, as Pan said, but it wasn't my dream to be a climate activist because I didn't know much about it. Back in 2008, yes, we had floods that washed away our home, even my family's farm, and we've shifted. We came to Kampala, where everything actually is for sale. Like you have to have money or you have to spend a lot for you to survive. But this used not to happen way back in 2008 when we had everything. So yeah, I had already experienced the impacts of climate change when I was young, but I didn't have any dream of becoming a climate activist because first of all, I was nervous. Second thing, I was shy. So joining activism came in after me realizing I had no job. You know, in Uganda, there is a lot of unemployment where you can study, graduate, and still don't find a job for at least 6 years. You can be home. So as I was navigating on social media, I landed onto a climate activist. Today, she's known as Vanessa Nakati. She was striking, asking my parliament to demand to come out and declare climate emergency. So I was surprised because in Uganda we have a leader who has been in power for some good decades, like 4. So this person doesn't want us to challenge him. So whenever you stand, even if you are standing for environmental justice, my dear, you become an enemy. So they can arrest you, brutalize you, kidnap you, and end your career just from nowhere. So I was like, how brave she is, how comes that she's able to stand on the street, demand actions. So I reached out to her and we had a very, very wonderful and insightful conversation about climate change. And even I told her about my situation, my story that happened to me when I was just 12 years in 2008. And she was shocked. She said, actually, you are the people we are standing for. You are the reason why we are standing, because when the temperatures rise, what happened is floods, and in some areas, actually, what happened is prolonged drought. So we need to start speaking up and raise awareness so that people can stand up and do something, change the way we invest, change the way we see things. So I was inspired, but joining wasn't easy still because I had to learn more about it. I had to make sure I educate more of myself about it, and I had to kill that nervous and shyness I had. So standing on street the first time was in October 2019, and since then I've been doing a lot of things. But as I say, activism is not that easy. It's not that the way I used to see it until I joined, when I realized that critics are so many, and they think activism is actually genderized, where they see you as a man, they don't expect you to be on the street, they want you to go find a job, do something, or take actions instead of you speaking. So people used to ask me, you say climate change is impacting us, how can't you do something? You mean standing on street, protesting every Friday, talking about climate change will make a difference? It will not. You are not from the West, you are from Africa. Africa has so many issues, you need to stand up. So I was like, okay, I will stand up. So I had to find the solution to what is happening. And I started with standing up on street, demanding one of the forests that was under attack by then. This forest is called Bugoma Forest. And in 2019, the government had foreseen that the rise of sugar, like the prices of sugar, will go up by 2023. So they had planned to grow more sugarcane to make sure the prices don't go up by 2023. And instead of them finding a clear space where they can plant those sugarcane plantation, they decided to give away forests. So they realized the forest had fertile soil, and it was wet enough for them to put up sugarcane plantation. And we said, no, this wasn't clear. This is not fair, because if we lose this forest, then we are going to suffer with emissions. We are going to suffer with pollution, because these are the only carbon sinks we have. Because we might say we are depending on two biggest forests in the world, like that one of Amazon and the one for Goma, but those forests are actually far away from where we are. So we need this natural forest to stay alive for us to survive. And we started standing, and there was a lot of repercussions, because we received threats. My Twitter account was suspended at that time. And they even tried to silence me, because when I was invited on a TV show, so many people got attention about what was happening. But instead of me having a freedom to continue standing, they suspended my account for 1.5 months. So it wasn't easy. And I had to change the way I see things and how I communicate. So I decided to start educating people physically, direct on ground, why we need forests, why it's not all about them planting, and also maybe get wood out of it, maybe get furniture out of it. Maybe others were using it as a retirement benefit, where you plant your trees today, and by the time you are in the age of retiring, maybe 50, 60, these trees will be old enough, and for you to be able to sell furniture, to sell wood. So people used to know, yes, that trees are very important, in a different way. So I started educating these people, but also had to shift from educating to taking actions. And today we are taking actions. We are planting trees in woods to make sure that we don't give any space for the government to think that these forests are no longer important. At the same time, we are also in schools trying to push for climate education. We are trying to bring together young people who are passionate about environmental activities. In my non-profit organization, I formed this in 2020. It's known as Earth Volunteer. And our mission was direct and still the same. We bring together young people who are willing to take actions voluntarily. And now we decided to form that initiative called Climate School 2030 to make sure we engage young people in climate activities. At least by the time they leave school, they will be able, or they will be even have taken the first step. Not like me, because I know I never did anything when I was at school. At my age, they didn't even tell me about it. I was only studying to pass exams. So we are pushing that, and between 2020 May and 2022 March, we had already planted over 48,000 trees in 18 Ugandan forest reserves. With this, we got an award. It was from CNN as Environmentalist of Tomorrow. I represented Africa, and that was huge. So after lockdown, we had to continue with climate education. Our mission is to make sure we bring together young people into taking action, because when you look at the agenda, what these world leaders are telling us, what these world leaders are sharing, every time they keep shifting from net zero 2030, they are now saying net zero 2070. So you ask them, for example, if you are Biden, you are almost clicking 80 something, and you are telling us net zero 2050, net zero 2070, will you be there? So if you not be there, why are we not educating the younger generation to be the change? Because you already say these are the next leaders, but you are hiding information away from the next leaders. So that's why we are trying to push for climate education in schools. And as a volunteer, our mission is to reach out at least 1.5 million students by 2030. It's not easy, because not so many people believe in climate education, but whenever we get support, this is what we do.
Yeah, no, that's I really resonate with your mission because, I mean, as a young person myself, it's just really firsthand understanding how important climate education is. Because, I mean, the issues that you spoke of, just like needing to balance, like just in that one instance, the forest and just the needs of like, needing to grow sugar, like that is such a complicated situation. But just to start, like navigating that and resolving it just starts with climate education. And you're so right about just it's so often that we hear like young people are told to, like you're the next generation and we need help from you. But then, we're kind of, in this limbo of it's hard to access education. So I just really appreciate what you do in terms of, bridging that gap for sure. I'd love to go into, I guess, like also, I mean, you spoke that, you hadn't always wanted to be a climate activist. I'd say the same for myself, actually. You're also like a senior technician. I mean, I guess I'd love to talk about, how do you balance that with, your climate activism work? Because, it's not, a lot of people would like to, eventually diverge from climate activism because, it's not, hopefully the movement won't last forever.
Yeah, I can say I never wanted, because my mission actually was so much in becoming a wizard, at the same time a writer. I wanted to be a writer, like a news writer or anchor. And this dream never came true at first, because after graduation, there was no job. So I had to branch into activism. So it wasn't my calling, but with time, and now I've realized that now the passion actually grew to an extent that I wish to do more if I had funds, if I had support across the globe. But how I balanced this was when I joined activism, actually after 4 months in March 2020, I got a job where I was monitoring CCTV cameras for a certain company here, and I could be able to do my research in activism as I was in my control room, like where you are today, where you are working remotely, but also doing some research. So during lockdown, it helped me to learn more about environment stuff, about sustainability, advocacy, what we need, what we can do. So that's how I managed. But after some good time, when the lockdown were lifted, at the beginning of 2022, things became chaotic because I was receiving out of invitation where they wanted me to see me in person. So my boss wasn't happy that I could be leaving the job, go to USA, go to Austria, go to Poland, come back, So my boss fired me in November last year.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they fired me, and I said, okay, fine, now you have fired me, then I think now I see the importance of activism. Let me continue with this, because now at least I have where to start from. So I had to continue with that, but it's not easy to balance work life and activism life, because we need to sustain ourselves. We need money, but in activism, it is very hard to find money, because sometimes even the events where I'm invited to speak, when you talk about, are you going to compensate my time? Is there a speakership fee? People say, you know what, we are just starting, this is just a non-profit, this is what, but we want to give you a platform for you to tell your story, such stuff. And in the end, they don't understand how you manage to sustain yourself to be in position where they are able to see you, So it is always tricky, and sometimes it will be more beneficial if there was jobs for climate activists. And that's what I want to see, so that we don't separate ourselves from what we are passionate about. Because now, if you need to survive, then you have to leave activism, look for a better job, come back, such crap. And in the end, we are living actually our roles, because we need to survive. And I don't disagree with those who move, because so many young people actually have left activism because they needed support, they needed finance, they needed to survive. Some of us are from Global South, where our countries actually rely so much on working employment. Without employment, we cannot survive, because we cannot be borrowed. Like, someone can't borrow me. I can live, die without a single loan, because even the government can't can't loan you. Like in the US, I have my friend actually in Canada and the US. They are all students and they have been studying on loans. And they were like, yeah, when we start working, we'll be paying back, which is so different from here. Here you have to pay cash. When I go to school, semester 1, semester 2, everything has to come from your pocket. Food, what, everything. So in the end, once you're done studying, your parents expect you to get a good job and repay back what they have been investing in you. So in the end, it became so hard. So right now, I haven't got a better job. I haven't got a good job, which can help me push both activism and also work life or my life at my overall life. So it's not easy. So to those young people who would like to join activism, I would just advise them to make sure they study more so that they are able to get employed. Then they can join activism. I know this is my own honest opinion because so many people don't want us to talk about this. They just want young people to be in the fight. But those young people who ran out from school to join activism are actually struggling to find jobs because their papers are still wanting and people want qualified people. And at the same time, in our movement, we don't have enough jobs that require little documentation. So it's a very big struggle. So young people need to be advised. I know it is very hard for someone to advise you that in that way, but at least they advise you to get more papers. At least if you are saying you're going to be a climate advocate, then go study much about sustainability, get some bachelor's or master's or what. At least have backup so that when they announce a job, you can apply and get it. Otherwise, for us, sometimes we struggle because this wasn't our calling. We didn't study much about it. Imagine I did IT and today I'm the one teaching people about sustainability. So it has been so much work on my side to learn more, do more research, to do more consultation. And doesn't mean I have a degree. I can have a degree if they were giving degree for free, because the information I have is enough actually for me to have qualification. But because I don't have that paper, I don't qualify even when I know everything. You know, that's a different thing. But it hasn't changed who I am. So I keep pushing and I keep applying. I don't know. People always maybe look at my profile and they're like, now, why is this guy even applied for this job? But I always try. I don't care what they feel, what they say.
Yeah. No, that's something I've noticed too. And I mean, just thank you for putting that advice out there because yeah, no, it's also complicated. That's such a simplistic statement for me, but it's just, I mean, we need young people in terms of the voices, you know, to be in the movement. And, you know, movements like Fridays for Future are so powerful in that it's such a statement that, you know, that's gotten really big global attention, which is, you know, what we need. But at the same time, you know, yeah, it's felt tricky in terms of compromising the education and you know being able to sustain ourselves. Like that's something that we need to be realistic about as well. I mean, it's so difficult and frustrating at times. I mean, how do you stay motivated and you know also take care of yourself when it gets really tough?
Yeah, it has been so tough actually. Every time you grow, you continue to get more stressed, more overwhelmed because when I was beginning, actually the movement was very, very welcoming. And today I don't see that, you know. I'm like, maybe everyone can join and go, you know. There is no that strong bond or strong unity that we used to have. So that thing sometimes hit my mind at some point. I'm like, why there is no that support that used to be there? Why there is no that attention that used to be there, you know? So as I continue to grow, the demand and everything rise, but what keeps me motivated is if I'm able to go into communities and we take actions, I feel empowered. I feel happy that I'm not wasting time whenever I do that. And most especially when I go into schools and we start talking about climate change, I see how motivated they are. I see how young people are actually challenging me with questions. I feel so happy. But beside that, if there is no school, there is no what, I always seek guidance from my friends. I have some friends, some few like 3, 4 They guide me, but also I have a coach. Who has been guiding me for some good time on whatever I do. So it helps because when you are young, you might not need that coach. But when you reach early 20th, my dear, things become tricky, stressful, overwhelming, and you wonder what really happened. Why? Because you see the demand of not progressing, you see everything. Like at around 24, 25, your eyes are very wide. They are open. You see everything, you analyze everything, you think about everything. So in this situation, you need someone, you need some people who are able to give you time, because some people be like, okay, if you need help, you need anything, let me know. And the moment you are in that situation and you need their support, they start ghosting you, others are busy. So in that situation, you just have to make sure you build a strong team from start, so that by 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, up to 28, you already have those people who are really capable of helping you, strengthen you mentally. Otherwise, burnout is inevitable because we overthink.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've been calling myself sometimes like a professional overthinker because sometimes I just, yeah, no, it happens. And I'm not even at that, stage where I have adult responsibilities yet and whatnot.
Saying some people may not show it because some people fear sharing what they go through, Others just want to show you only the happiest side. And for me, I never felt bad until I reached this stage where I started feeling bad. When I see some people, when I start observing you full year, the next year, you are always happy. I feel bad at you. I start feeling bad because that is a lie. That is a lie. How do you manage to survive? You are in my age mate, and for you don't feel the burnout, you are always happy. That's a lie. For me, I take that as a lie because humans, Gen Z, oh my God, this is inevitable. So when you keep hiding, you make me to hate you because I'm like, there is something you're not showing us. And that's how the world is. That's how the world is. They make you feel like you are the only one in that situation. And I think this is the bad side of this. So for me, I realized that nowadays when I oversee people happy all over, I just log out for some time because I'm like, something is wrong. So I have to come back when I'm okay. At least you better share about some topic, maybe education or what. But the moment you post happy, enjoying life, then the next time enjoying life, then I start to hate you from there because there is something you are not showing. Because we are going the same thing. No, I may not be in the same position like you, I may not be. But what I know, there is no perfection in this generation. There is nothing like perfection. Mentally, there is no perfection. You either like it or not, you are hiding something. So most of the time I'm like, now look at this person. Because we are the same movement, we are pushing the same thing. So if you are okay financially, then at least you are not okay about the future. Yeah, if you're okay about the future, then you're not okay about the relationship. If you care about the relationship, you are not okay about the studies. There is something orange.
Yeah, no,
And people just want to normalize it, and for me, I feel bad about it. So most of the time when I oversee such stuff, I log out for some time, then I come back when I'm okay, because I don't feel comfortable seeing all the happiest thing when in my life, not every day is a happy day.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Yeah, that's the thing with social media. It's everyone posting, like, I read somewhere just like you have to keep in mind that you're always looking at the highlight of, everyone's life and that it's not the whole picture, because then it really makes you question yourself a lot. And that's definitely something, my generation is going through, with just social media is everywhere. And I mean, a part of that is like social media it can be a really good tool. I mean, that's how you and I are speaking now, and just how like a big part of this movement is. I mean, to tie it back to just climate change, but also, yeah, it's really hard to it's a difficult movement to be a part of sometimes, because it's so challenging. And I mean, I appreciate you being so transparent about that, because I mean, if we don't talk about that side of it, then, all of us tend to feel isolated. And that's something that's, it doesn't have to be that way. So I appreciate you sharing that a lot. I also want to talk about, I mean, like, if we're going to talk about like social media activism, like sometimes it's some people that are on social media, like this is not everyone. Definitely don't want to like, spoil the whole thing. What advice do you have for social media activism?
I've been on it for 4 years consecutively. Every day I wake up. But I can tell you, it's not good. It's not good enough for you as an individual to put so much focus on social media. It is good when you are good at communicating and when you have numbers. But the people who don't have numbers, it's not good because you feel stressed 24/7. You post something that has taken you like 5 to 7 hours to create, and only 20 people, 100 people see it. And out of the 100 people who see it, only 2 appreciate it. So you ask yourself, what was the purpose of me spending minutes and minutes and hours doing this? So at some point, social media has put a lot of people's hope up, which is not right. I just want to be like, if people could go back and understand that I'm on social media, I'm posting for myself, not for people to see, then it will move. But the moment you post for people, it is a huge blow, huge disappointment. And I've seen this so many times. Even me, when I post, I'm like, I want people to read this. You put out of caption, and only a few people read, and you'll be like, wow, wow, wow. What happened to my account? The algorithm is shadowing me. So in that situation, you burn out. So at the same time, social media can be good because it spreads the news very quick. Very quick. If you want to see news spreading, social media is very okay. If you want to invite people to join your activism or talking about certain thing that is happening, social media is okay. But if you want to talk about your own stuff, then make sure you don't expect a lot. At least expect a few people to read. That's why the only people who are enjoying this social media stuff are people with followings, big following, are the only one enjoying. But we sometimes don't enjoy. Sometimes we'll be like, why am I even wasting my time? Why? Social media is good in some way, but it's bad for your mental health. I can say it every time because you need to be more creative every day. And the moment you lose the creativity, even the following drops, the views drop, everything drops. You don't get attention. You wonder what really happened. So in that situation, I'm like, I wish we could use social media to tell people we have a demonstration, a climate strike on this and this day. That's all. I wish. But today we are on the struggle fighting misinformation. Even the fossil fuel industry is paying billions of money on internet so that they can spread fake news and fake stories about climate change. So we are pushed to stay online so that whoever tries to divert people, we make sure we have the right response. At the same time, the only way to get opportunities, you have to be on social media. Show people you know something. Show people you can speak. Show people you do this, and they will invite you and speak to you. It's not because they don't know you, but the moment you go off, they will not look for you. That is the bad side of social media. So the moment you stay away and be like, okay, I'm a climate activist, but nowadays I'm not on social media. No one is going to invite you because they will be like, we don't know you. So in this situation where we are from Global South, we have to look for opportunities. We have to make sure our voices are heard. Like, it is overwhelming.
Yeah. All of that was just so well put. I also want to go into like, as you're based in Kampala, Uganda, you've also been very vocal against like the East African crude oil pipeline project. I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about this ongoing issue and just like other climate challenges that your country is facing that, the global environment community should stay aware of?
Yeah, I'll start with that. EACOP, the East African Crude Oil Pipeline, is coming from it's coming from Uganda to Tanzania, passing through natural resources like Action Force Dam is one of the biggest dam that helping some electricity. So the pipeline is going to go through that. At the same time, it's going through natural resources, including some game parks around. So this is scary because Uganda as a country is benefiting so much in tourism attraction. We attract so many Western people and investors who always come and have fun this side. So when we see such stuff going because of a single pipeline, we ask ourselves, once the pipeline go through, will we be benefiting from it? And when you check, among the people who are going to benefit the most is Total. Total is from France. So he has invested the biggest percentage, he owns over 62%. And Sinopec, the one for China, they own over 15%. Then there is another bank, then Uganda. So you can see that Uganda, the little they are getting, they have even to divide it with Tanzania. So we discovered that this actually doesn't make any sense when it comes to economical values. So we said, okay, guys, we know very well that you want to make money, but what if there was another alternative? Because we talk about renewables, but we don't see investment. What if there was massive investment? You mean we cannot sell solars to other countries? We cannot sell wind turbine to other countries? Can that generate income? Can that help us get electricity? Because we are seeing actually even countries in the West transitioning to clean energy and investing so much in solar, electric vehicles and so on. This never happened in just one day. They had to sacrifice something. So we are using this opportunity to tell the government, guys, you need to sacrifice. There is money for climate finance. At least go and borrow that money. Come and use it very well. Instead of you pushing people away, which will put stress on other districts. Because when people migrate, expect the rising cost of housing and food in areas where they are going. So this does not only affect the migrants, but also it affects people in the community. When you come to Kampala today, it's too expensive, way too expensive. Because you have to pay rent, you have to eat, you have to get water, electricity, internet. In the end, if you don't have a job, you can't sustain a living here. So we ask ourselves, what do we want really? Do we want stress on people? Do we want stress in communities? Do we want food insecurity? Why don't we leave people on their land? So we are asking the government that even the communities where you want to pass the pipeline, they are not satisfied. They said they were not consulted, meaning you are forcing them, giving them small portion of money so that you can use as an excuse that, yes, we compensated them and we told them to go find a better place, which is a lie. So at the same time, Uganda is going through a lot of impacts out of climate change catastrophes. When you look at the west where that pipeline is coming from, there is a district known as Kasese district. Each year we have to lose people. Each year over 2,000 to 3,000 people get displaced due to floods. This has been happening. The same in eastern Uganda, there is Mbale district and even in Butareja district where we used to stay. These areas are mountainous areas. And whenever it rains, there is always floods. And there is land degradation. Like people are always evacuated every time, every year. And when you go to northern Uganda, there is drought, prolonged drought. Last year in June and July, we lost over 900 people. 900 people due to starvation. I was there and I witnessed this myself. So I realized that some of the impacts that are causing all this catastrophe is human activities. Karamoja is very rich. It's one of the regions in Uganda that has minerals. They have gold, they are cattle keepers, they have iron, they have uranium, but these people are very poor. They are very poor because when the investors come, they pay the government. And the government they don't care giving back to the communities. All they care is getting out the minerals. And in the end, these people now are seeking for support, donations, food. They move, they don't dress even very well. Some of them move naked, they don't have clothes. So they are in their own country. So to solve this, we have to go back where it all started. When people own their land, they can do something. When the land is fertile, they can grow something. They will not be looking for jobs so that they can survive. They will be able to grow some food at their backyard. But imagine you don't have a home, you don't have source of food. What next? You have to move. These movements are causing like inflation because prices have to go high, have to go up that you are working on, because when the landlords see people coming in the city looking for houses, they'll be like, okay, let us increase some rent. They increase. The food the same. Because where is the market? The market is in one district. So people will have to bring food from different city to this city where people are. And that process of just bringing that food, it costs you a lot because we have poor roads that have been damaged by floods. We have pollution. Like even the hospitals themselves are very stressed. So we wanted to share all this to show the government that, you see, what you look at as a small thing is actually multiplying a lot of injustices, a lot which we are going through. And the government wasn't happy, so they started threatening those who speak about it. Even me, I was threatened at some point. Even my family was threatened. I had to leave home. I had to go find where to stay. I first stayed with my sister until I had to move out of the country for some 2 months. And the government, their main focus is money. So they see you as someone who's trying to challenge their progress. And this is not true. We are trying to make sure we don't see rising number of climate mobility, climate migration. We are trying our best because even in this fight where we are making noise, we are seeking for climate finance. I've been one of the person pushing for climate finance. In 2009, they promised climate finance for least developed countries. Over 90 million, over 100 billion were promised. And today this money is nowhere to be seen. So we are pushing for that. But as we push for that, we need to make sure our governments are also ready for that. Not to make more and more export. They should be preparing. What if this money is approved today? Where is it going? Is it going to go into oil drilling? Or you have set up new plans? So those are the questions we are asking. The same thing to loss and damage. At COP27, we were asking for that, and it was added in the agenda. And this time in Dubai, we are pushing to see that they identify the countries that are going to pay, and when this money is going to be approved. Now, what if they say it is going to be approved today? How prepared are we? When you have the longest hinted pipeline in the world.
What do you think, like, the role of, African countries like Uganda in global climate negotiations are? And I mean, definitely, what are your expectations from world leaders in terms of, supporting climate finance, and how can we, best communicate with governments when it's such that communication is so complicated?
Yeah, at this moment, we don't have any role. The only role we play for is our survival for the next decades. Yeah, because negotiations can happen, but who benefits? So we are just there to make sure we also be part of the beneficiaries. But also benefiting requires a lot of push, and we are pushing for that. But again, there is some decline. Leaders are just speaking. The words are always dominating. That's where our worry is. We would like to see world leaders at least stick on their words and be like, okay, last time we promised this, and by the end of this time, we had already approved this. Those are the only negotiations we want to see. We want to see them talking about what hasn't worked. Not every time talking about what hasn't worked. When you ask what hasn't worked, leaders are failed approve the finance. That is the only thing they always say. What hasn't worked? Leaders have failed to do this. We want to see that, okay, what hasn't worked is we had invested over $2.5 trillion in renewable and it didn't work. Electricity wasn't nowhere to be seen. You know, we want to see that. But every time what hasn't worked? They haven't approved the money. You know, no such excuse actually done. We are done. You know, we want to see that when we say what hasn't worked, you say, you know, the infrastructures that we are put in place when Pakistan lost over 300, when Pakistan floods displaced over 33 million people, this infrastructure actually again destroyed by improvement in what we have implemented, not improvement in what we say. Because today leaders are just fixing words, changing the speeches, using different terms to lie to the public. You know, they think most of us in Global South that we don't understand or we don't memorize what they say, but we know they just keep shifting from this word to this word. This is done. These countries actually have money. When you look at when you visit these countries, you see development. But ask them, guys, what really happened? Why are you saying you don't have the money when you are approving billions and billions of money in your country? Does it mean we are not a global community anymore? Because they said we are a global community, meaning we have to work together. At the same time, when you ask the biggest emitter of CO2 in the world, you will not exclude China and the United States, even UK, even France. These countries are the one causing the catastrophe we are seeing all over the world. Even the top 10 billionaires that are investing in all injustices across the globe are from these countries. So when we ask for compensation, we are not asking you free money. We are asking a payback time, payback. But hey, you require a lot of force. A force that will require, if voting is needed, we have to change the leadership. Make sure we get into people who are really care about humanity.
Yeah, definitely. The words need to match the actions, actual actions.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And I mean, I also want to ask, what are your long-term goals and aspirations for your own climate activism and, the impact that you hope to achieve with your work with Earth volunteers?
Yeah, we are still on the same move to make sure that we reach out at least 1.5 million people by 2030. We are still looking for funding to make sure that we push for climate education, even in time when it is not yet approved in schools. We can still push and get those few who are growing up, because if we delay today, that young man, that young boy, that young girl who is in maybe elementary will be in high school someday in years to come. So when we delay, that person might be the investor who is going to be the very, very, very problem we are facing today. So we have to start now, and that's where my focus is. I don't know if the future changes, but so far that's where we are focusing.
This is a question that I ask, when we're kind of closing off, that I ask every episode. I mean, if you could turn back time, butterfly effects aside, and, tell your younger self something that you wish you had known earlier, what would you say?
It would be to first get a job before joining activism. Because when you join, people perceive you as something else. They don't value you so much. They see you as a noisemaker. They see you as someone who has no role to play, someone who is just jobless youth. But when you have your money and you're able to do something, you don't be pleading to people to be like, hey, guys, donate so that we can do this. Guys, donate so that we can do this. You'll be doing them on your own pace, by yourself. Because I see myself helping my community, I just don't want to see myself in the future begging countries, begging people to donate so I can do something. And that's the only thing I regret. I'm like, I wish I had got a job before I joined. Because I hate the word fundraise. Please donate, please donate. I just want to see something progress. I want to see myself doing something. But now I can't do because I have to write application, ask for support. They promise you today, they ignore, they play you, they forget, they come back. So you are always in that circle.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, actually, I'm willing even to invest my own money into taking action. That's my wish.
That's so true. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're still doing incredible work now. Just thank you for continuing to do that. And, for those who want to, either support you or just keep up with the work that you're doing, where can they find you?
I use Nyombi Morris at M1. M Nyombi. Yeah, M Nyombi 1. So that's the end of everywhere on X or former Twitter and Instagram. Then Facebook Nyombi Morris, LinkedIn Nyombi Morris, and there is a donation link everywhere, so you can find it and donate something. We visited the donation link once in 2 months because not so many people donate, so we check it once in 2 months. And yeah, the donation is very welcome. And all we want to see is progress. We just don't want to be talking. When our countries are going through a lot, I'm telling you, we have an issue of pollution here. When you look at our lakes today, you'll be surprised that these are the lakes that are providing us with drinking water and providing us with fish. So it is shocking that we live in a polluted world where no one cares. And those who would have cared actually investing millions and millions of dollars in fossil fuel, others are investing billions of dollars going to space, looking for another planet. I don't know how far it will go with that, if they'll be even alive by the time we get another planet. But for now, this planet is actually under attack. We need to do something. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you for taking the time to speak with me today.